Hi everyone, this is Alan Lipovsky here from Constellation Research, and this is my weekly social business collaboration news wrap-up for the week ending September 11th, 2015. Let's start off with a social task management vendor, Azendu, getting $1.5 million in funding. So congratulations to the team over there, Benoit, Gregory, and Christoph, and the rest of the group. If you're not familiar, Azendu is sort of like Asana, Workfront, Clarizen, Productive, Liquid Planner, on and on and on, Project Plan. There's a whole bunch of vendors in this space that create task management platforms. One of the things that I like that Azendu is doing is, rather than just sort of focusing on that generic project management, task management market, they've decided to go after the specific vertical around marketing. So marketing departments, design teams, marketing agencies, and they're going to give a little bit more focus. You know, the tool obviously is still usable for anybody in any department, but they're just going to put a little bit extra effort into explaining that use case. So check it out at azendu.com. Moving on, let's take a look at Dynamic Signal, the employee advocacy program. What that means essentially is Dynamic Signal helps get the right content to your employees so that they can share that content out with others, whether it's internally or in social media, to make sure to give your customers and others the right interpretation of your brand. So basically you're creating brand advocates. So two big pieces of news there. First of which is personal to me. Congratulations to my friend Scott Schnars being named the Vice President of Enterprise Sales over there. So congratulations, Scott. And then larger scale for the company in general, 22 million Series C of funding. So that's a big deal for the organization. So I encourage all of you to surf over to Dynamic Signal and see how their tools can help make your employees into brand ambassadors and employee advocates. Switching gears, let's look at Microsoft. Well, we'll start by kind of mentioning that little company Apple had an event earlier this week, and they introduced the iPad Pro, a giant, movie theater size iPad where you can run multiple applications. And so Microsoft was quick to come out with updates for their Office tools that run on this monstrous new iPad. What's most important about it is you can run multiple applications or two applications side by side. So you can be running Word and PowerPoint. You can drag and drop and move things between them. So you can take this chart here and drop it over into this slide. You can take information from an email message and post it over into a Word document, so on and so forth. Here's PowerPoint and OneNote, etc. You can also use the new iPad pencil, that they introduced to do markups on the screen on the new iPad. So just really interesting stuff there that Microsoft is getting that information out, or this product out very quickly, and it'll be available with the new iPad Pro. So take a look at that. Sticking with the Microsoft world, the introduction of the first preview for the Office Online Server. So what this means is we're all familiar with using Office web apps. So you go off to Office 365 and you can use browser-based versions of Word and PowerPoint and Excel, while the Office Online Server allows you to do that on premises. So this is really, really good stuff for companies that want the power of cloud-based applications but don't want to be hosting it outside of their organization. So OOS brings the features for your cloud-based Office to your on-prem solutions. So I encourage people to take a look at that if hybrid cloud and on-premises deployments are of interest to you. And then the next thing about Microsoft, let's do another quick one. I've been mentioning several times how quickly Microsoft Research is putting out products into people's hands. Instead of keeping them locked away behind the research walls, they're actually making these cute little small tools available quickly. This week, they've introduced a new one called Snip. And what Snip allows you to do, it's sort of a take on screen capture tools, but instead of just screen capturing, something that's on a web page or in an email or in a PowerPoint, and then pasting it and sharing it with others, what Snip allows you to do is use your voice to annotate what that image is. So if you take a look at the Snip page, they give you a bunch of examples of, you take the screenshots, you annotate it, and then you share it. So you can paste it or save it as an MP4 video, paste a URL, and send people over to it. So you look at things like this, and they give you a few examples. I am bummed though because it is currently Windows only, so Mac not currently available. Shame, 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 but hopefully they'll be getting there soon. All right, let's switch gears and talk about IBM for a moment. Interesting announcement of opening their new global headquarters for the IBM Watson Health division. Not exactly something you would hear me normally covering, but why I think this is really important is they're bringing the IBM Watson capabilities, the natural language processing and the questions and answers and the parsing huge amounts of data and getting answers into some very great collaboration scenarios. I'll let you take a look at these when I give you the link at the end. But the one that stands out the most for me as a project I've been interested in since it started very early is this Boston Children's Hospital working on something called Open Pediatrics. And Open Pediatrics is a collaboration platform based on IBM Connections that allows pediatricians around the world to work together collaboratively to diagnose and solve issues with sick children. And I think that's just fantastic. And what they're saying now is that they're going to add Watson's deep iterative question and answer capabilities into Open Pediatrics. So basically, the smarts of Watson added to the collaboration of Open Pediatrics. Great project, and I hope people check that out. Staying with IBM for a minute, there was an IBM acquisition. Again, not purely in the collaboration world that I cover, but I thought I'd mention it because it's around application development, which you can use to build cool collaborative applications. So IBM acquires StrongLoop. My colleague Holger Mueller has blogged extensively about it, did a 3-minute little video here that I'll give you guys the link to. We can find out more about how IBM is filling out their IBM Bluemix platform with all sorts of really good new stuff. So speaking of app dev, let's talk about Salesforce for a moment. Salesforce has introduced their new cloud, the Salesforce App Cloud. Essentially, this is a renaming of the Salesforce One platform, bringing together things like Heroku and Force.com. There's some added stuff here, though, things around identity and data management and networking. It involves the app marketplace, the Salesforce market, all sorts of things, but they're really building out a world-class app dev platform for people to build collaborative applications, not just for the web, but also for mobile. To help people learn about that, they've also launched a new website called Trailhead that allows admins and developers to begin learning how to develop and administer the app dev platforms or the Salesforce platform. So take a look at that. Sticking with Salesforce for a moment and sort of linking it back to that IBM thing that I mentioned around healthcare, Salesforce has brought out a new vertical industry cloud specifically around healthcare. Why this is interesting is sort of think about the relationship. So Salesforce started as sales reps talking to customers. So you have a person documenting information about someone they interact with. Well, that sounds very similar to medical practitioners, caregivers, doctors interacting with their patients. So instead of sales and a customer, you have a doctor and a patient. And so they're bringing out a very secure healthcare system powered by the Salesforce platform. Salesforce is not doing this alone. They've actually partnered with a whole bunch of medical providers and doctors and hospitals and third-party vendors and GE Healthcare and all sorts of experts in this industry. So I think it's a very cool vertical use case for the Salesforce platform. Continuing to talk about Salesforce for just a moment, big news next week, obviously the largest computer conference of the year, Salesforce Dreamforce, kicking off in San Francisco in just over 3 days, September 15th through the 18th. They're saying 150,000 people are signed up. They're expecting 10 million people to watch over the 3 days online and video. You can see here Foo Fighters is playing the concert. I will be there, so a little shameless plug. I'll be presenting with Joel Book and Kara Olson. We are going to be discussing the integration or the synergy between email and social media. So it's not one or the other. It's how in a marketing environment do you use email and social channels, and how do they combine and how do they interact? It's not one or the other. What do both of them do? So if you are attending Dreamforce, shameless plug, Thursday, drop by, see our awesome session. And continuing with the shameless plugs. Let me do one now, not just for myself, but for Constellation Research. We have our own Connected Enterprise event kicking off at the start of November. I encourage you all to take a look. We have some incredible keynote speakers, including Don Tapscott, and over the course of the 3 days, there's Amy Cuddy, a TED superstar speaker, executives from companies all around the world, Constellation analysts will be speaking. This is sort of a CXO level only event, so 300 executives from companies around the world getting together to talk about digital transformation. So there you have it, the news in the social business collaboration world for September 11th. As always, if I missed something, please feel free to get in touch with me, let me know about it, or leave a comment.